Hi, this is Christian again from Contort Distort. In this video, I'll be going over the 9 new features in Metaphysical Fabrications. So let's go back to the Rezo Bliss preset. One of my favorite things about Metaphysical Function is the Rezo chord, and my new favorite feature is the ability to play the Rezo chord like a musical instrument. We've chosen Rezo Bliss because it has high feedback and mix values for the Rezo chord, which makes its pitches very obvious. I'm going to click the Rezo MIDI button, and this feature enables me to play the Rezo chord with my MIDI keyboard. I'll start playing some notes on my keyboard. We can hear the comb filters in the Rezo chord getting updated with the notes I'm playing. Let's expand the Rezo chord instrument. As I play some notes on my keyboard, you'll see the MIDI pitch numeric readout in the Rezo chord instrument update with the notes I've played. The Rezo MIDI button that we initially clicked in the Metaphysical Function instrument controls this MIDI button in the Rezo chord instrument. Now when I click on the MIDI button again, we hear the original chord. Once I'm happy with the chord I've made, I can hit the paste button to paste the settings to the pitch parameters and save, or append or insert as a new snapshot in the Rezo chord instrument. Before this feature, you would have to adjust the pitches manually via each comb filter's pitch parameter, which is nowhere near as fast and engaging as being able to perform them with your keyboard. Let's select preset 30, getting closer. My second favorite new feature is the ability to create chord progressions by triggering Rezo Chords Snapshots by recording a progression with the P1 or P2 sliders. Let's go to the preset chord's new preset mod parameter, and we can see that I have chosen P1. In P1, we can see I have automation recorded in the slider. This is toggling between snapshot 26 and snapshot 27. If I disable the automation and enable MIDI for P1, I can now select presets via MIDI and node input. There is an added sampler versus input crossfader, so you have the ability to send audio through Metaphysical Function via Reaktor's player, an analog input, or from within a DAW. Function via Reaktor. An analog input or from within a DAW. Some added sampler versus input crossfader. So you can send audio fader. So you have the ability to send Metaphysical Function. Some added sampler. Here we have an oscillator trim section. This is an additional gain stage for each oscillator or sound generator. Sometimes a performance has been recorded to the volume slider's automation, but the volume is too high or too low. It's really handy to have this trim control to fine-tune the performance instead of having to redo it. This is a linear volume control, so a value of 0.5 is going to be negative 6 dB, and a value of 2 is going to be plus 6 dB. Let's take a look at snapshot number 5, Twilight Fields, and let's alter the trim on some of the recorded volume sliders. You could see that this helps to dial in some of the performances recorded. Next, turning on this Midi Trigger will allow you to re-trigger the sampler via a MIDI gate input. So every time I hit a note on my keyboard, you could see that it restarts from its start point. Also, turning on this Midi Trigger button will allow you to restart the automation for all sliders via a MIDI gate input. Here we have added pitch bend control. Pitch bend will now control the pitch of anything that has P1 or P2 assigned as a modulation source. The number box on the right is the pitch bend range control. The number box on the left is a readout of the output value being created by the pitch bend. Notice that generally the P1 slider is assigned to the Rezo Chords pitch modulation via its dropdown. Also, the P2 slider is generally assigned to modulate the pitch of the sound generators as well as the pitch of the sampler. Enable the MIDI buttons to the right of the P1 and P2 slider and play them via MIDI note input. I usually enable MIDI control buttons for both P1 and P2. This retains the pitch relationship between the sample, the sound generators, and the Rezo chord. I separated the modulations out to P1 and P2 because sometimes you'll get interesting results by only having P1 or P2 enabled. However, other times you'll find that the integrity of the resonator is compromised by not having both P1 and P2 enabled. Another added feature is mod wheel control. The modulation wheel can now be assigned to any of the recordable effect sliders via the drop-down list. You can also control the mod wheel's modulation range via the min and max parameters. The min parameter is on the bottom, and the max parameter is on the top. You can also reverse the modulation by setting the max to 0 and the min to 1. Now let's take a look at Rezo Fuzz and override the cutoff automation. Now let's assign the mod wheel to the cutoff. Now we have control of the cutoff via the mod wheel. We have the stereo mono toggle. This allows for Metaphysical Function to receive a stereo signal from the sampler and is selected by default. You can reactivate its original mono behavior by disabling the stereo button. The last addition is a post-processing section with the same filter and EQ from the Metaphysical Function instrument, a limiter by James Walker Hall, the co-creator of Metaphysical Function, and a post-gain slider. This section is mainly for taming and mastering. For instance, sometimes the bass frequencies are a bit too much, but if you try filtering or EQing in the Metaphysical Function instrument, you end up changing the way the audio is fed into the Rezo chord, and it doesn't sound quite as rich, or the tonality is not desired. This lets you tame the sound while retaining the integrity of the Rezo chord. So those are the new features in Metaphysical Fabrications. In the next video, we'll be checking out some of the sound design techniques that went into creating some of these sounds. Thanks for joining me. Again, for more details, visit my website, contortdistort.com, and follow me on Facebook and Twitter at contortdistort. Take care.